Welcome to the reality check. October 23rd, 2018. As you can see, I've lost some weight this week. No, not on my belly, on my head. And that's about the only weight loss I've been doing recently. So, I did it. No congratulations to me on that. Today, on the reality check, though, we will be talking about the invasion of America, our Arizona prop votes, because we have election coming up in, 13 days? And we'll also be talking about the hot mess news stories, and they are all over the place. So much to talk to, so much to talk about, and so much to analyze. Now, big thing, the migrants, illegal aliens. Let's get this straight. We have a bunch of people coming up from Honduras, and it's growing by the day. And they're not getting stopped in Mexico. They didn't get stopped in Costa Rica. Now, firstly, a lot of myths going on here. Obviously, people talk about they're coming here for asylum. Well, they have no right to come here for asylum. That would be like Costa Rica. It's always your next country over. You're running from one country, you're going to the next. There's your asylum. So they're coming here to work. Well, you can't just come here to work and break through the door. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. So legally, there's no ground to stand on. Please stop with the lies and the pride. Legally, no ground. Whatever. You want to make a compassionate case, you can make it. And I can make just the opposite. But what you have here is a lot of fraud going on. Firstly, where are these people getting all this money? Could you just, and I know they're saying they're poor, they're repressed. I get that. So you're poor and you're repressed. How do you stop working and wherever you want to go, head that way? How do you have enough food? Water, money to buy whatever you need? You don't. So the fact that it's not like you're trying to hitchhike to the next state, you're talking thousands of miles. So obviously somebody's funding it. Trust me. You also see they're repressed in Honduras. It's horrible there. Well, that's something that we need to take up with the Honduras government, because we give them money every year to make it not horrible. So why are we giving them money? Exactly the reason why we should cut all their aid. I don't know why we're giving other countries money anyway. Sorry, because your country's bad, we have to support you, and then we're going to take on your people as well? No, we should at least then just keep the money for ourselves. Then that would allow us to take in a few more people, and we can see who we want, because we don't just want anyone coming here, and that's what this is. That's why it's an invasion. It's not people by our choice. It's people, they're just here where they come, and that's it, you're going to take it. Now, you look at the videos, and they're very, firstly, how are camera getting in these countries to follow them? A lot of them are journalists from America. So why don't they just help these people out by giving them a few bucks instead of wasting company money with this silly reporting? But you see the pictures and they tell you women and children and blah, blah, blah. But look when they back up the picture a little bit. Look what it is. It's kind of like if you had a dirty pillow when your parents are coming over. When you're younger, your pillow's dirty. Well, what are you going to do? You're not going to spend money on another one. You could care less. Wait, you got this cheap pillowcase, let's put that on top. And that's what, in this case, they have the women and children there. They're your little pillowcase to make it look good. But when you take off that pillowcase and you look inside, what do you have? You look, when those cameras scan a little back, you see kids jumping over fence, hopping over. How are these people? Poor, and they're barely alive, and it's just women and children. No, it's 20-year-olds. Climbing over fences, beating down Mexican police officers, which I don't understand. If any American citizen did that, they'd be put in jail right away. But yet Mexico lets this continue to happen. Mexico is an accessory to this crime against America. Make no mistake about it. That's it. We need to put the pressure on them. I'd put the pressure on them, tell them they need to do this. Otherwise, we're going to cut business with them. We're going to cut a lot of ties. If they're going to let somebody else attack our country, they're an accomplice. Sorry. We wouldn't let someone march right through America to go attack Mexico. You know? No, sorry, you find your own way. We're not partaking in this. And that's what they're doing. So we need to put the kibosh on Mexico for that. And then it's really simple. I would take 2 sets of military and tell Mexico, if you're not going to do anything, well, we want to put our military on this side of the border. We want a little buffer zone. So if you don't want to be an adult and handle this problem, we will. And we have our first set. They can line up. And no weapons. Our first set of military, I know, it still sounds a little bit crazy, but our first set of people can say, nope, you're not coming in. Sorry, you go back. Not happening. You have no right, no permission. That's it. You can't just do what you want to do, especially when you're insulting. I mean, here they are calling a president stupid and no heart. Then why do we want to let you in anyway? You're repressed from a country and you're waving that country's flag. It makes no sense. The country's so horrible, we're going to wave our flag. So how do you have the energy or the want to carry, whatever, the pole and the flag, 5 extra pounds? It's a waste. You could be carrying food. You could be carrying other supplies because you're repressed, right? And they're walking across and you see videos of them getting into vehicles and getting driven up. And the timing of it all. We're going to try to get here in time for the elections. What does that have to do with anything? It's funny, they're concerned about our elections. Maybe they should be concerned about their own. Maybe if they had this much passion for their own country, things would turn around there. Because even crappy dictators get turned over when the people unite. So you don't want to fight for the cause in your own country, but you want to come to America to fight for the cause. The cause of, But still, you have not only the funding of these people, clear invasion, but like I said, I would put our soldiers up unarmed up front and say, you're not going past. It's peaceful. We're not putting any military equipment on you. Just, you know what, go back. Sorry. Here's a meal or 2. Find your way back home. That's it. And if they push past our people and get violent, and you let them know the warning, this is your moment where you make a decision. You're not welcome here. We're giving you some food, a way to head back, and that's it. If you think you're going to get physical with our people, well, then we will have a price to pay. And you're not getting in the country, we can tell you that. And that's it. You just stonewall them after that. You know what? They want people to die. That's what they're hoping for. That's the goal of this. They know that not the people themselves that are marching, obviously they want to live. And yeah, they'd like to come here and get free stuff. But you have the people that are organizing this, and that's what they want. They want something tragic. They want something horrific. They want something you can put on the news. Oh no, little kid dies, something. That's what they want. They're hoping for it. That's the only way they're going to make any news with this. And that's what they're doing it for. That's why it's timed at this time. That's it. They should uncover who's funding it. And that person should be arrested. They should be arrested on charges of sedition against the country. How about that? That's good enough. We have other ones too. You can throw in many other charges. But whoever's funding this should be arrested. I mean, it's just that simple. It's great to say humanitarian compassion, this and that. That's for like one person who's avoiding something, or a few here, a few there. We let in more people than any other country. We're a leader in that. Why don't you guys complain to these other countries that aren't as generous as we are? We give your countries money so you guys could have a better life. We don't even get a simple thank you for that. All it is bitching and complaining and this stuff. We have many people here. I don't hear a state amongst us where they're not talking about we need more money for education. We need more money for this. And there are homeless people, and there are veterans without health care, which is really important. I think the most important issue there is to take care of people who took care of our country. I know kids in schools is hugely important. I have 3 kids going to school right now. But the money's there for that. It's just being misused. For our veterans, not only is the money being misused, but we're not taking care of some of the stuff we need to. So those should be focuses. If that's all cleared up, then yeah, take a few extra people in. But to bring people here when we're not taking care of our own already, it's not right. And to tell people that, well, if you pay your fair share, you pay your fair share. Sorry, but the tax system in America is a hindrance to the success and prosperity of the people. Like I say constantly, sit down, take your paper, take your pen, and write down every single tax you pay every month. When you go buy shampoo, when you go buy a pack of underwear, right? When you go eat, when you pay your phone bill, when you pay your mortgage, when you pay rent if you don't have a mortgage, right? Put all that down. Your income tax. If you own a business, payroll taxes, and the fight, federal, and local, state taxes, town taxes, like when you buy stuff again. All the fees to put your car on the road. Permit every time you want to build something. I need a permit, I need a permit, I need a permit. It's another tax and another tax. For services provided of what? You want to resell stuff, you need this license and that license. What service is it that they're providing for you? None. It's a tax. You can say it's a service, but it's a tax. That's it. It's a tax. When you win the lottery, you pay a tax. Right? You get a bonus in your paycheck, you're paying a bigger tax. Add it all up, and you'll see how disgustingly high it is. And yet people are telling we need more money. You know how many people would be able to live on their own without any government assistance if it wasn't for the burdenous taxes? You know how many people would be able to hire more people if it wasn't for the burdenous taxes? So don't tell us we need to pay more. Don't tell us we need to accept more people. We don't. It's time for some self-responsibility for people. You have to stand up and fight. We are reaping the rewards of our forefathers who stood up and fought and got us freedom. And the many soldiers who have died since, from my family, your family, everybody's family. We are reaping it. We do have a better time. These people need to make their stand and make their lives better. And it shouldn't come on the way of them bullying us, which is what liberals say they don't want, to try to get their way and break into our country. It's my opinion, I don't have to agree with it, but, it's pretty factually and common sense based. That's what I say about that. So, next up, 13 days, right? 13 days till we vote. And in Arizona, it's a very, we have propositions. So you get a bunch of signatures, which I'm against the whole, not necessarily against the whole proposition. I don't mind stuff being on the ballot to vote. I don't like the way they go about doing it. You have paid people standing in front of businesses or places trying to get signatures. And who knows how legit it is. Half the time, it's really scuzzy the way it's handled. And people in Arizona know what I mean. You're trying to go to the post office, and somebody's sticking a clipboard in your face, and that guy doesn't know anything, and he's convincing people to sign. Half the time, it's just somebody signing because they just want the person to get away from them. Yeah, make them happy. They have no idea what the proposition is. You're signing half the time, you don't know. There's one paragraph on it. I mean, you read some of these things, they're 5-6 pages long easily, and that's just in the complicated terms. If you broke it down and were really descriptive about it, it could be 10-20 pages easily. So propositions, the way they go about doing them is not very good. I think they should just post them up in the public, and if you have interest, well, here are times it's open, and you can go down and put your signature on it with a proper ID. That's it. It's not voter suppression. It's not this. If it's important to you, if something's that important, you will find the time to do that. That's it. Otherwise, you can't say it's important. Just like when people talk about voter ID, how it suppresses people because they can't do that. They can't go pick up a free ID, or they can't, you know. Look, if it was that important, they would do it. You know, if it's not that important, then you're not going to do it. So you really don't care. So you're not being suppressed. You don't care. So on to our props here in Arizona. November 6th, like I said, 13 days away. So the first prop that we have Proposition 125. So basically, it is just correction officers who retired and fulfilled their employment agreement. It's basically a pension reform. So they want to change, make some changes because these pensions aren't properly funded. So I mean, there's a lot of questions you got to ask. I mean, obviously we know correction officers, who are the biggest group here. They don't make a lot of pay up front, so a lot of the reason why they're signing up for this job, which is one of the dangerous there is because of the good pension, and you figure you're going to do something for your family. You'll work hard now, maybe you barely live there, but after your set time in there, you at least could have some enjoyment the rest of your life, or at least know that you're providing for your family. So I totally understand that. But to me, this proposition, no adjustments should be made. The money that was taken out through when the state was poorly run, people raiding the funds, should be put back. The employees should be paid in full. And next thing we should do is pull all pensions from this forth on, no more pensions, and just raise the wages. One, they're getting their money the real way, not a promise to get it, or they might have to worry if they're going to get it, or sorry, you got hurt or you died before your time, so you didn't get it, and your family can't get it because of this and that. None of that nonsense. These people get their money, and I mean, pensions are just the modern day Ponzi scheme. Back in the day when pensions were first started, yeah, it was decent because you worked, you had a shorter life. If you got out on the other side, you had 1 or 2 years, maybe 5, if you were lucky, to enjoy some money and live out the last few remaining years of your life in a decent fashion. But now, one, people live a lot longer. So now you're retiring and you can live 10, 15, 20 plus years after retirement. So you've never, even the amount that they would allot for your pension, you're going to go way beyond that. And then what are you going to do? How are you going to collect that back? Are you going to hope that people die early? Are you going to cut from the future people, which is what you see a lot of times? It's just, now the future people get stuck and they get less. So, like I said, pensions are a modern day Ponzi scheme. And the thing is that when you have this pension money sitting there, it's just too juicy for these governments. And they raid it all the time, from Social Security, and all the local pension funds. Businesses do it too. You'll see grocery stores and they have pension funds and they're raiding it because they're in trouble financially. It's underfunded. And we don't want to have to deal with that. One, because now we're in a position where we have to pay that back for somebody else's mistake. It's easy for them to say how successful they were when they were stealing everybody else's money. So we don't have to deal with that. If we don't have pensions, we don't have to deal with that. You give people more money, makes the job better for them, and then they choose what they want to do with their money. If they want to spend every last penny and they don't have enough to retire on, unfortunately, I know that situation. That'll probably be me. That it is what it is. And then people are like, well, the government has to fund you and give you this and that. To be honest, most people have Social Security. That's what the Social Security is for, as the emergency bare minimum fund that you have if you financially didn't do well in your life. You have that. So that's what that's there for. That's the minimum. You have something. But this pension stuff, I mean, it's just easy to be ripped off. And now it's a ball that's rolling downhill the wrong way. and it's hard to get back to refund pensions. Who's going to pay for it? If the money's already spent. I mean, that's what, if you look at our postal service, that's most of the problem. Is they always say they don't make money. It's because of all the pensions they have. You have one person working, and you have to pay for one person who's not, and sometimes even more than one person. So how is it you're going to pay this guy a decent salary and have to pay for two more people for what you're getting in? Financially, it doesn't make sense. That's why most businesses can't do that, especially businesses that have a low percentage of profitability, like a grocery store or something like that. It doesn't make financial sense. You can't do it, because eventually you get to the point of, like the Ponzi scheme, there's too many people to be paid and not enough people that you're, swindling, tricking to get in. So that's why, Prop 125 is a no-go for me. So next prop is Prop 126. No, they don't all go in number order, don't worry. But basically, Prop 126, a vote yes on it is going to protect Arizona families from potentially more taxes on services. Examples of things they could tax is like childcare, healthcare, self-defense instruction, tutoring, haircuts, manicures, tattoos, dry cleaning, car repairs, funerals, which we get taxed on this stuff anyway, but it's adding more taxes or new taxes on part of it. Banking, accounting, if you're advertising, real estate, your doctor's taxing you, from the nurses to therapists. Man, can you imagine that hospital bill? Hey, this person gave you an aspirin plus tax, plus the fee for giving you the aspirin plus tax. Lawn care, just heating, air conditioning, and all it's going to mean is all these people are going to have to get more licenses to collect their sales tax to pay it up. But besides, the biggest people that got hit obviously are the low-income people, the middle-income people, because you're barely making it now. Everything's going to rise up, 8 cents on the dollar probably. So the excuse that people are against it, they say that when the government taxes some businesses, not others, they're picking winners and losers. And in a way, I agree. In a way, I don't agree, because all the same businesses that are competing against each other, either they have tax or they don't have tax. So it's not like you're saying this grocery store pays 8%, this grocery store doesn't. All grocery stores would pay the same. All dentists would pay the same. All people that walk dogs would pay the same. So that keeps that playing field level. But to me, I would love to pull taxes off all services. They talk about, money for schools, money for schools. Look, this is, again, like a Ponzi scheme here. We pay property taxes because it goes to schools. So because you own a home, you get punished and you pay extra tax, because that's all it is. So because they say you can afford more because you own a home, and now that goes to schools. Okay, that's good. Lottery money, all that tax is supposed to go to schools. You have all this money going to the schools, and now here's an excuse. It's just an excuse to pull more money out of the citizens. They're at school. School needs more money. How about we try to manage the money we have properly first before we give you more? That's always been to me. Hey, you can't manage one lemonade stand. Why am I going to let you run 5? How about show me how you can do this one first? Now, if we need more money for the schools, which I'm not a believer in, like I said, until we manage what we have, because we're just, basically throwing money into a fire. How about taxing the casinos? We have many casinos here, and they provided schools little to nothing, and they'll try to, they pay. Trust me, if you look at what they provide, all of the schools, it's a little to nothing. Not some of the schools, all of the schools. All right? So that's Proposition 126. Now, next up, Proposition 127. So Prop 127 Wants to require utility companies that produce electricity that are regulated by the Arizona Corporation Commission, which is not the government utilities, which out here is SRP. So they want them to sell increasing amounts of renewable energy beginning in 2020. Now, firstly, it's weird because in the last prop, they're talking to people that were against it. We're talking about, oh, every business should be taxed because we don't want the government to pick winners and losers. But yet the same people here aren't saying, well, wait, they're picking winners and losers because some utility companies will have to abide by this renewable energy and others won't. Now, this one's an easy one for me. Firstly, whenever they're forcing you to do things a certain way, you know it's going to raise the price. They should be, these companies, their whole goal and thing is to find the least expensive, safe way, obviously, because if it's not safe, it gets very expensive. But I mean, that's what you need to do. Keep costs at a minimum. You know, and for us, I mean, there's many examples of this proposition doesn't work. We know who's in charge of this, Tom Steyer. You know, liberal Democrat, and they did this stuff in California. It raised their prices. You know, green energy, same old blah blah. You're forcing a company to make it only a certain way. You're limiting their options, and let's say they can't, so now they're going to be punished. Trust me. And then you have, I mean, think about the increased price of electricity. Obviously, it hurts the people that are struggling. It also is going to hurt schools because they're going to pay more money for the electricity. So money that could be going for textbooks or more teachers or smaller classroom sizes will now have to go to electricity. And in Arizona, we know that's pretty big. I mean, schools have to use air conditioner here parts of the year. It's not like New Jersey where we got away with it. They just let us suffer the last few weeks. You know, it wasn't unbearable. But here, you can't do that. I mean, once you get, you know, April, you have to have that AC on every day in school, minimum. You know, when you go to school, it's August. You have to have that AC on August, September, part of October. You know, and you're just raising the rates of electricity. So it'll punish schools. You know, they'll tell you, oh, it has no effect at all on the price. It's not true. When you limit ways people can get stuff, when you tell them you have to do 50% this way, what if they can't? How are we getting green energy out here? You know, a lot of people know it's solar is the biggest way. What if we have a bad month and there's, you know, not good sun? We're not cutting it that one. Or what if the demand gets so big out here? Sorry, we're going to have to raise rates because we have to limit electricity use. That's not good for anybody in Arizona. So that's a bad prop. Yeah, it's a bad prop, and it's just out-of-state money, which shouldn't be in our local elections, right? Now, the next prop is probably our biggest, it's prop number 305. So you see they skip around on the numbers. Basically, it's pages and pages of stuff. It's just not to the point the way it's written. I mean, simplifying it, it talks about open voucher program for schools. And for me, although I am for choice, I do like you being able to go to whatever school you want as a parent. And people say, oh, that's not fair for kids that the parents are poor and this, that. Oh, actually it is. It gives them more opportunity. If the school by your house sucks, and that's where you can afford to live, but you can find a better school, you know, outside that area, then that's something you can do. Oh, well, your parents might have to drive. That's fine. You know what? Trust me. I drive my kids to school all the time. because we want them to go to good schools. We can send them to other schools. It would be easier and more convenient, bus pickups and whatnot. We chose not to. We want our kids to get a good education. So does it cost us time and gas money? Absolutely. But as parents, we're willing to put that in. So I am definitely all for choice in schools. But the problem with this, proposition is it's a poor bill with no accountability for schools, students, parents. I think when you're writing something like this, it has to be very specific, or you get to the point of where people are just milking money from the system, and you're just watering down everything. So you got to think. It's going to cost more for the state, this prop, because you will have some vouchers that'll exceed what an average student gets. So that's one thing that has to be clarified. If you're giving out the voucher, this is what we pay per student. That's what you give the family. Now it's up to that school if they don't want to do it for that because they want to be more expensive. That's it. And then if they don't want to take the voucher, because it's just a voucher for a set amount of money, but if they don't, then maybe we cut some of their funding. That's it. Here's what it costs to teach a student. That's what you get. That's in the budget. Just like anything else, you got to keep it in budget. And then you're going to have schools that, because of this is a voucher, they already know that's guaranteed money. Maybe they chip a little off of the parents. You don't have accountability for the student's achievements. Nowhere that I read in the prop does it say, okay, we're allocating, this money for the voucher, but what can we expect back? What student performance can we expect back? And in that sense, if there's no accountability for the student, there's no accountability for our dollars. How do we really know how the dollars are going to be spent? You see sometimes, recently, it was one in Arizona where there was a charter school. It's sad because most of the charter schools I visit are above the average, but there was one recently where the guy was just taking money for himself and the kids were out of luck. The school actually had to come in and fund it for the rest of the year because this guy was just using the money for his own personal business, not the school. So we got to have a way to be accountable for these tax dollars. And then this makes things more difficult for special needs kids. They'll lose preferences they have under the current programs, the ESA. And the school, students that are in private schools as well don't necessarily have as strong rights for, disabilities education and stuff. And a lot of private schools, some of them obviously, like small charters, couldn't probably handle that. That's a case where there's going to be more money needed to educate a kid, which is okay. That's what government is here for, to help people in need. So we'd have to find a way to put in the bill, how do we get these kids educated? And we can't obviously put it on the charter school that they take up the burden of money. But there's got to be a way where there's exceptions in this bill for people who do need extra money. So that's a no on Prop 305. Just not a great written bill. So now we have Prop 306. So Prop 306 makes changes to our Citizens Clean Elections Act, which is a voluntary system of public funding of election campaigns for candidates statewide and state legislative offices. So it's supposed to give people a fair share of money if you can't collect from the big donors. So changes they're making: a participating candidate would be prohibited from making direct or indirect payments from their candidate's campaign to a political party, a private tax-exempt organization that's eligible to engage in activities to influence the outcome of candidate elections, and so forth and so on. So for me, Yeah, I wish they'd get most money out of politics, to be honest. I wish each candidate would get the same budget as far as whatever office you're running for. If two people are running for governor, if two people are running for, state, the state legislature, if two people are running for a board, if two people are running for, president of the United States. Here's the budget you each have. It's the same amount. Do what you please with it, and that's all you're getting. One, we want to see if you can run this like we expected to run our country on a budget. And then you don't have to worry about outside money influences somebody being bought and paid off for. It cuts a lot of that out. And it puts it on the level playing field. So these people are going to have to talk more about issues instead of just throwing money and insults around. I think it would be better for all of politics. But for this prop, they want to, like I said, want to change some of the Citizens Clean Election Act. So this is kind of like the baby taking its first step. When you're sitting at the line for the long jump, right? You have a huge amount of stuff that needs to be cleared up. Clean elections, to me, the Clean Elections Act is not a very working system to me. It says clean elections. It's supposed to be more clean elections, and do some people that wouldn't benefit do, yes, but it's just so far not covering everything we need. But there are lots of problems that we have in Arizona. The low performance in our schools, which is at least getting better. We have many things, obviously, in towns and much, not a huge, even the statewide police forces, we need bigger police forces. We've let the numbers go down in a lot of areas. Yet you never hear anybody talk about we need more money in politics. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. Most people say we need less money in politics. So it's strange that the Arizona Clean Elections Commission voted to give government money, our money, to political parties so they could afford to send you campaign ads and robocalls. Citizens shouldn't have to pay for any of this stuff. The political party in Arizona, they aren't victims. And at this point, if they need money, they can raise it from private citizens. They don't need the state of Arizona giving them handouts, and this is what happens under this. So Prop 306 is going to put a stop on the government giving away our money to political parties. It'll still be there for candidates who need stuff, but it won't be for people to take this money as free and be able to redistribute it. So although this is such a tiny step, like I said, a baby step, when we're ready for the long jump, it's still something in a positive direction. So I will vote for it. It's one of those things, you hold your nose and you vote for it. It could be a lot better, but it's not, so we have to deal with that. It is what it is, I guess you can say. And hopefully we can get some more things. Like I said, I'd love to be at the point where we take all the money out of the elections. Here's your budget, and that's what it is. That's pretty much it. So there's your prop votes, right? On to the next thing. The next thing in our world, right? So we have vandals who threw giant boulder through Representative McCarthy's office window. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Maxine told you to do it, right? Pretty sad. Another day, another day. Donald Trump, like I was saying before, look at these caravans. Look at who are the people inside. And Donald Trump said the same thing. Why doesn't the media put the cameras in the middle there, investigate these people? You'll find there are gang members. There's always is. It's just a fact. Not saying these people in general are bad, but that if somebody finds out a door is open, things come in there, right? Eventually criminals come. And that's it. Your neighbor could tell you, hey, I'm leaving the door open, just come in and get, the thing you want to borrow, whatever. But when bad people find that out, boom, they're there too. It's okay. So we had Common Core, right? Recently, everyone loves Common Core. It's supposed to be so great for you. I look at it, and it's just like, when we're young, they always say, what's the shortest distance between 2 points? A straight line. And Common Core tells you, well, it might be a straight line, but we're going to zigzag our way there. And then we're going to turn around halfway, go backwards, turn around again. And by the time that's done, you're so confused about which way you went to, you don't even know where you were. So now we have the worst reported in decades math scores for the ACTs. Worst reported in decades. The college readiness benchmark in math fell to its lowest level since 2004. 40% of 2018 graduates met the benchmark, which in 2012 was at 46%. So you see how poorly Common Core has been. Pretty sad. But who do we got to thank for that, right? The people that love the kids. They love the kids so much. We had to hear, of course, Barack Obama. He's got a lot to say. It's like that song, me, oh me, I want to talk about me, oh my, and so forth, yada, yada, yada. And there's Obama, supposed to talk about the Nevada candidate, Jackie Rosen, in Las Vegas. But he's speaking about himself. That's all he wants to talk about. Everybody take a seat. Obama's got a lot to say. Oh, he misses you. And it's the most important election that he can remember is when he was on the ballot. And although Obama said that the economy wouldn't be good and the new normals are this, and what's Trump going to do? Wave the magic stick. And now Trump, I guess, somehow waved the magic stick. Obama will say, remember, who started this? It was me. I did it. I did that. You can't say something's going to be broke, and then when it's working, oh, yeah, well, I'm the one who fixed it. No, you had no clue. No clue. He says he states facts. He believes facts. He believes in a fact-based reality. He doesn't make stuff up. This guy even talks about himself in the third person. He says, I see Obama doing pretty good. Obama, Barack, Obama, 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 Obama. That's pretty much most of his speech. Obama, 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 Obama. Here's a guy who still can't. I mean, most presidents still stump for other candidates. Absolutely, they get in there and stuff. But usually they talk about the other candidate. And I don't know, man. It's time to let it go a little. But he doesn't want to. I don't know, man. The guy just doesn't let it go. He's like trying to convince you of his accomplishments. Like, Trump will talk about himself and he'll tell you what he's accomplishing. But Obama's trying to convince you things are his accomplishment. Pretty sad. Stacey Abrams, everyone knows her. She's going for the nominee for Georgia governor. And, she said that pretty much illegal aliens are her way to a win. So it comes out that in 1992, at the Georgia Capitol, the Democrat candidate for governor, Stacey Abrams, joined in burning the state flag. Now, she'll say it was incorporated with the battle Confederate flag. But she loves Georgia. Kind of reminds me of Kirsten Cinema, who called Arizona, the meth lab. But she loves to wake up and smell the sand. Yeah, I don't know. This is just, firstly, she should be thrown, shouldn't even be electable. What she's done about saying illegal aliens should vote for her, clear violation and sedition. I know it's a popular word today for me, but it is. It's sedition against our country. Nothing less. She's telling people she knows they can't vote and saying, it is what it is. So it's an interesting story. Now we know Cory Booker, who has the Spartacus moment and saying how bad Kavanaugh was, a guy who's a known groper who touched a drunk girl, admitted to so. It's interesting. So that now there is somebody who wrote a piece that Cory Booker, it's a gentleman who wrote a piece that Cory Booker sexually assaulted him. Now, I'm not going to say Cory Booker's guilty or innocent. Technically he has a presumption of innocence, so this person needs to come up with a lot more than this letter if, we're going to take it further. But it's interesting how, if any of this is proven to be true, just to take out the Cory Booker part of it, this person actually had put forth their story to Ronan Farrow and another media person, and it's all crickets. Nobody wants to take up the story. They've offered documentation, so they haven't even accepted what this person wants to give in documentation. That's how it is. It's not even like they're like, okay, you haven't given us anything. They're saying that they won't even take the documentation by ignoring or not responding. It's a very interesting story. It's an interesting read. You can find it online. It's a 3-page letter. Who knows? Maybe somebody's doing it to bust his chops. Maybe it really happened. We don't know. But, as everybody says, it needs to be investigated, right? So, again, you'll see how these hypocrites are not going to follow their own word. As always. Oh, yeah, media. There was a picture of some of the caravan the other day, right? Burning an American flag with a swastika. And how nice of them to get rid of that. They really love America as they're waving their flag. Ray Caruth, I'm sure many know Ray Caruth. 19 years behind bars and he got let out. So the question was, now what for Ray Caruth? And he had to hear. If you don't know who Ray Caruth was, he's one of the top receivers in the game at the time in the NFL. He played for the Carolina Panthers. He was put in jail because he hired somebody to kill his girlfriend, who was pregnant with his child. So she died. And the child actually lived, and his child actually has visited him a few times in prison. So Ray Caruth got released. And, obviously his family's excited that he's going to be out and nervous about how he'll be received by the public. And of course Caruth said he still has to work, he has to live. He's obviously going to go by his other name. 5 years ago, he was one of a bunch of inmates, about 20 of them, who were selected to go to community colleges to get their barbering certificate. So that's probably what he'll try to do when he comes out, cut hair. He received over 1,500 hours of instruction on popular hairstyles. I don't know. It's just a rough story to talk about. So he gets a chance to rebuild his life. And obviously it's going to be tough. I mean, who's really going to hire him? Anybody who knows. And I get that point, but obviously his road is a lot easier than his girlfriend's road, where she's dead. And then, I mean, the guy's pretty much a social pariah, which we get, and he should be treated as such. It's just, and this guy will get a chance. He will definitely get a chance to see his child, which is obviously something his girlfriend wants. And this, if you remember how rough it was, this guy not only hired somebody to kill his girlfriend, but he pulled his car in front of her to trap her while the hitman came and shot her. So in that sense, it's horrible, but it's a news story, so we talk about it. Everyone knows popular news. The creepy porn lawyer Michael Invading hit with a $4.85 million judgment for unpaid debts. This guy owed somebody lots of money. He was supposed to pay $2 million. He didn't pay, which is ridiculous. This guy's making money all over the place. I'm sure he makes money on TV appearances. Every one of these clients he gets paid for, right? I'm sure Stormy's paying him big money. He's got enough money to buy all these suits. Where is he getting all this money? Right? But he has no money to pay people he owes money. So then in the same day, he actually got hit with another judgment that they've been kicked out of an office they rent because they haven't paid rent for a few months. So he doesn't own the law firm, but he does own the law firm, but his name's in the law firm. He might own it, but he might not, but who knows? Whatever. And then we had another star that the media made in the news, besides the creepy porn lawyer. There was the illegal immigrant pizza delivery man who was nearly deported when he was in detention by ICE. Now, he had delivered a pizza, and he got taken in by ICE. So it was a pizza he delivered to, I think it was a military base. So poor him, woe is him. He was married to a U.S. citizen, so he had an order of deportation. That was in 2010. He was freed 2 months later. They halted his deportation so he could fight the removal and preserve legal residency, saying he was a model citizen. But he just got arrested because Pablo got in a fight with his wife, pushed her against the wall, slapped her body, took her phone away so she couldn't call the cops. And the police later found the phone in his pocket. So, another hero in the news. And, nothing more than a two-bit criminal who likes to hit women, sadly. Interesting update on the, remember Florida school shooter cruise? His mom thought that he was so disturbed that he shouldn't live on his own, but she took him to buy an AK-47 anyway. So in choices like this, I think the parent has to be held accountable. I remember here with the Jared Loeffler case too. I mean, his dad knew he took off with a big bag of guns. Like, how are you not calling the police, letting him know? Well, because you don't want to get your kid in trouble, but now it's okay that he murders people. Sorry, when your kid's at that point and you know he needs help, call somebody. So he gets arrested for it. It's better and safer for not only himself, but for everybody else. If he's in jail, instead of letting him sit there and attack somebody else, no, you don't care because it's not you. So everybody else has to suffer because you wouldn't want anything to happen to your child, who you know. Ridiculous. But it is what it is. So, You have the liberals who are more upset over the Khashoggi, whatever, the dude that got murdered in Saudi Arabia. They're more upset about that and what's Trump going to do. And let's just start a war with Saudi Arabia. Let's get to the bottom of this. Someone needs to be punished. Yet, no outrage when Kate Steinle was killed in this country by an illegal. Khashoggi, Khashoggi, Khashoggi. You know, we're all crazy about him. People need to be punished. But yet, for Benghazi, we don't want anybody to be punished. It's very interesting, the takes on that. You know, the Khashoggi thing, I understand. It's a concern, but it's something that has to be dealt with kid gloves. We can't just go in and make accusations. We don't have proof. And yes, I know they're probably holding the proof. We understand that, but still, you can't just make accusations. And I mean, they're making it like this guy is an American journalist. Firstly, he was a contributor, not a full journalist. Secondly, he was in a foreign country, so he's not. We can't even give people the same protections when they're in other countries. But we don't know the whole story. We also, the story doesn't make sense. Everybody's jumping on. They killed him for political reasons. Why do they care? Their whole purpose is they're opening up their country. They're trying to build IT in there. They want to make that a mega center for IT. They're giving women more rights. They're trying to modernize and open up things. So why would they just go and kill some guy because they didn't agree with him? And one, there's many people then they can kill. They're trying to get away from the Wahhabism, the extremism. So why are they just going to kill this guy who his opinion they're making it like this guy is a giant in public opinion. Nobody knew who he was, at least here, before this happened. We had no idea who the guy was. So it doesn't add up, Just like when you have with Syria and they're winning a war and knocking the other side back, and then they're going to start gassing their own people. It makes no sense. Like, why would they do that? They know that's going to look bad on the public stage or not. I understand when you're desperate and your back's against the wall and you do whatever to win. I get that thing. But when you're winning and you're dominating, why are you going to do something like that? Like, it doesn't, not saying it can't, because we don't trust them anyway, but why would you? You got to ask the question. You can't just jump to that conclusion. And I think we definitely have to ask the question here. Will we ever know the truth? Chances aren't very good. But you have a bunch of liars calling another bunch of liars and saying these liars did this, and these liars are saying we might have done something, and it's just, we don't know who's telling us the truth. Got to be with kid gloves. And you know what? We got to put all the evidence on the table. And it's going to take a while. It's not something, everything with these Dems are a timeline, except when it comes to them, right? Kavanaugh, nope, it's got to be by this side. Nope, sorry, we have to have an FBI. We have to do more. And then the Khashoggi thing, we need immediate action. We have to act. With Syria, we have to act right now. This and that. With Russia, we have to act right now. Instead of listening to things, let's act right now. But on Keith Ellison, well, we're doing an investigation. One which we still don't have a conclusion with. Maybe we'll let you know after the election about the investigation. We're going to take our time. And that's the way it was with Al Franken as well. Well, we're looking into it. Yeah, there's not much to look into. You have a picture of him groping some chick asleep on a plane, military plane, for, military charity event. But, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to take our time. But yet, there's no time allowed here for this, which is a huge thing and hard to come by the truth. Sorry, but it doesn't make sense. They're just trying to force Trump into bad decisions and make him pay for it. Anyways, that's this week's show. Thank you for watching the Reality Check. Next week will be a good week, a safe week for everybody. We'll talk about some candidates um, and whatever stories we have in the news. Be safe.